So welcome, everyone. I think we can begin. My name is Michael Capello. I'm a professor of pediatrics and director of global health programs for the Department of Pediatrics at the Yale School of Medicine. I would like to welcome all of you to Through the Eyes of She, one of our conference workshops that comes on the heels of what was really a remarkable two-day conference last week highlighting women leaders from across Africa and from every sector. Before we begin our panel discussion today, I would like to thank the sponsors of Through the Eyes of She, in particular, the Edward and Dorothy Clark Kempf Memorial Fund and the Macmillan Center for International and Area Studies at Yale University, the Yale Council on African Studies, the Hakeem and Maima Belousagi Provost Fund for the Promotion of Africa, the Yale Office of International Affairs and the Department of Pediatrics Global Health Program, the Yale Institute for Global Health, and the Yale Women's Faculty Forum. I would also like to just take a moment and acknowledge Dr. Christine Correa, who really has been the driving force behind the conference from last week and this series of workshops that will be happening over the next few weeks. The title of today's panel discussion is The African Woman as Entrepreneur and Leader. And with that, it is my pleasure to ask Essie Otre to moderate the panel and to introduce our speakers. Thank you very much. Essie?
Thank you so much, Michael Capello. As he mentioned, my name is Essie Otre, and I will be the moderator for today's session. I'm currently based in Accra, Ghana, with two of our panelists, our lovely panelists with me here today. And I am really excited to be doing this. So before we begin, I'd like to ask all the attendees to kindly leave any questions that you may have in the Q&A function on your screen. And take notes. There's a lot of inspiring stories, and you never know what you just might learn for yourself today. So without further ado, I will invite our first panelist for today. As an alumna of the best girls' secondary school in the Gambia, St. Joseph Senior Secondary School, Sukai Say is a passionate educator and mentor to girls who strive to break out of circumstances that could hold them back. She led the construction team that upgraded the infrastructure of the school that enabled the Ghanaian company TechAid to bring in its computer learning lab and cutting-edge makerspace and used information technology to enhance the already excellent education there. Studying in the computer learning laboratories, high school girls gain experience in the makerspace, writing software programs to solve real-life problems. The girls' robotics team had already won the competitions in their age group. Just think of what they will do in the future with the help of such a cutting-edge makerspace. When she's not teaching in the US during the school year, during the summer, Sukai returns to the Gambia, where she leads her family-owned construction company to build affordable housing. Sukai Say, we would love for you to share more of your story with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Yale University, Dr. Christine, Dr. Capello, Nora, and Janet, and of course, my dear sister, Dr. Deborah Rose, for hosting and giving us this great opportunity to tell our stories. Susu is what I'm going to be talking about the first segment. Susu is a trusted informal banking sector, as you can put it. There's other names. It's called Ususu or Nata. Susu is basically you receive the money you put in without any interest or any hardship at a set given time. I am born in Gambia. I was born in Gambia, sorry. I was born and raised in the Gambia, and I've lived in the US for decades, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. My dad worked as a peanut company manager in the Gambia, and they grew, harvest, and milled peanuts into oil, and the husks of the peanuts were used as soap and also as renewable energy. Coming from a family of 12, I have 11 siblings. Even though my father was very well to do, it was hard for him to raise, clothe, and educate 12 kids. So that's when my mom, who is my mentor, jumped in. She used to make snacks that were basically the African beignet, the meat pies, or some people know it as empanadas, made soft drinks, example as hibiscus drinks, ginger drinks, tamarind drinks, and would sell it to the neighboring schools that were in our neighborhood. And one of those neighboring schools was the best high school, and it still is the best all-girls high school in the Gambia. And I am a product of that school. And also a vice president of the Gambia is also a product of the St. Joseph's High School. The Minister of Education of the Gambia is also a product of the all-girls school, St. Joseph's High School. The Minister of Gender of the Gambia is also a product of the same high school, etc. So as my mom took in this great endeavor into her own hands, because she was uneducated but firmly believed in education, and she was determined to make sure that all her kids were educated. And I'm proud to say that all 12 of us, except one, has college education, some higher, some are PhDs, research, some are diplomats, so and so on. So when she formed the SUSU, SUSU is basically based on trust. She gathered the women around the neighborhood, they put in money together, and then when she started the SUSU, she only started with $100. See, that's our currency, that's equivalent of $2. So 10 women would put in $2 every week. So at the end of the week, one will take their hand. We called it a hand after every week. So people would put in more than one hand based on your ability. You can put in one hand, that's $100, which is $2 a week, or you can put on two hands, which is $200, so that's $4 a week, based on how available your funds are. So they did this SUSU mainly to help them. It was a mode of survival, to help them survive, and also cover the other means that weren't able to be covered, in this case, my father. So she did that, and it helped them a lot. And then through that $100 to $200, $100 to $2 per week became $10 a week, and it moved on so much that it helped all those women gain confidence in themselves, to be able to not only take care of themselves, but also give them some kind of financial independence. They were also able to feed their families with that, educate their families with that, and also clothe their families. And through those $2 a week, progress to much higher businesses, in terms of my mom moved on from selling snacks and drinks to fabrics to jewelry, and until her last days, she was still in business. So SUSU really helped form us, and I learned a lot from my mom as my mentor. And during that time, my great-grandfather was also a village chief in the most prime land in the Gambia, now called Ker Sering. Ker, which is K-E-R-R, means home, and Sering was my great-grandfather's name, so he named the village after himself. I remember going there 50 years back, taking dinners, and we would cry all the way because we thought we were going to be infected with all kind of disease, or we would be eaten by the wolves. And he will sit in his chair and tell us, "Oh, don't worry, don't you see all these great lights?" And we thought he was senile. This is going to be one day, it's going to be like the Palace of Africa, which is like the Palace of Africa. And we thought he's really lost his mind. But now, guess what? It's the most expensive area in the Gambia, where all the who and who, where all the best hotels, where all the best businesses are housed. So because we inherited this land from him, and I learned from my mom making things early on in life, 3-4 years at the age. So I was just very much interested in housing and building and putting things together. So I took up the sustainable housing of my family and started it. So I hired masonries, carpenters, plumbers, steel fixers, all sorts of people that could come in and work and help us build these sustainable homes. And it was done. And there were a lot of challenges during those times. Our infrastructure in terms of water and electricity was not great. So we had to use sustainable means by digging wells, by boreholes was not as common that time, but we dug a lot of wells to also help us sustain our buildings And we've got poly tanks to store this water. And when electricity was available, we will buy pressure pumps so that that pressure pump would be able to pump in the water into the tanks faster. So this has been going on for the past 25 years. I've lived in the US for a long time, and every summer I will go in and work on the sustainable housing. And thank God we were able to do it. We were able to have all of them built except 2 pieces of land that's left over. Hopefully we'll be able to build it pretty soon. And my most proud moment of that is that I was able to tackle the men, because being a woman who hijabi Muslim, that was not the field for women. So I had to stand my ground, like my sister Deborah always says, and tell them that I can do it. And at the end, they listened and they followed my lead. And I was most proud also that we were able to hire all these people to work for us. And we still have a great relationship with them. They still work for us. And we are most proud to say that we are still supporting them in terms of giving them work, and also in terms of supporting their families, into also feeding them and also educating their kids. I would also like to talk, I will also, I will also at some periods of time would have to travel to different countries to find building materials closer to, like in example, Senegal, which is about 3 hours, 4 hours drive away from Gambia, because we also had challenges in getting materials into the Gambia, as being one of the smallest countries in Gambia. So that was also a challenge. But now that it's been 50 years later, we have a lot of materials now, and everything is most things are accessible. And I am proud to say that we are still going strong. And I thank you again, Yale University, for giving me the chance to tell my story. I hope to see everyone soon again. And thank you, and stay safe. Thank you, Essie.
Thank you so much, Sakai. That was definitely inspiring. I love to hear stories of way before I was born, of a different time. There's always so much to learn, and it makes me even more grateful for the life that we have today.
Essie, could I just make one, I'd just like to make one small comment. I love hearing that story about your grandfather turning that area into a luxury kind of resort, because I have now been there at least twice, and there is a spa attached to a marble hotel, black and white marble hotel, that I call the Taj. So as far as I'm concerned, it's India, not necessarily any other country in West Africa that is the model for this amazing place.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If any other panelists would have some comments to share right now, please do. Otherwise, we'll have some time afterwards, and then we can, discuss and get into the questions shared by the audience as well. Okay, so thank you, Sakai. We'll move to our next panelist. I will introduce the next panelist. As a woman leader in the Akan tradition, the Honorable Comfort Gabra has served as one of the few elected assemblywomen representing the Infantiman Municipal Assembly in Nyamransa, the central region of Ghana, for over 10 years. She operates with the full support of her husband, Stephen, and her family. Comfort will describe the role of an assemblywoman, the traditional role of Akan women in general, and the role of a Queen Mother in helping to lead and to determine leadership succession in the town. After a brief retirement in 2020, during which Comfort took online courses in leadership, she returned to the government service when her people needed her the most. Comfort Gabra has long desired a covered market hall in Nyamransa, Ghana, that would shield small business people and those selling local produce from the vagaries of weather, from the hot sun to the pelting seasonal monsoon rains. Now, a site has been selected, the building is being built, and she is leading the way forward to bring in and manage the sellers. Fellow panelists, the audience, I am very delighted to welcome Honorable Comfort Gabra, sitting right next to me. And so I'll just give her a moment to be in the shot.
Hi, Essie, can Comfort speak? Yes. Honorable.
Hi, my dear mother. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's so nice to see you. And if I can get packed, I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, thank you, Essie. Wow, I'm so lucky today. Good morning, panelists, audience, and my fellow sisters. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce myself and say some small story about me. I am Honorable Comfort Gabra from Yamransa, and born at Yamransa, where I started my education at Secondary Takrady and ended at Yamransa, that is the elementary school Form 4 reading certificate. And I was one of the 7 who passed out of 67 candidates in 1977. From there, I got an admission to Accra Girls, and with no one take care of me, I said to myself, I will never allow any situation to overcome my success. So I try and look after myself, selling cake at home and selling underwears at the school as well. That is how I managed to pay my school fees and to take care of myself too. After the school, I got into a marriage and I started making my family. I had 3 children and doing some courses to the entrepreneurship, and I did community development and counseling and marriage counselor at the same time. So that is how I'm doing for some years. And I saw that some people also in the streets who also is like me, don't know what to do. So I picked some people from the roadside and set up a business for them, take them to school, mentor some of them. Like how my sister Sukai is saying, I made susu for them so that at the end of the month, I share it, the one that you put it aside for your school, the one that you use to buy something that you want till they finish school. And right now, some even named their children after me. And I thank God for that. Through this work, I organized the market women. By then, there's no market shed. So I organized the market women, which most of them are single parentry, for them to know how to go about themselves without misuse themselves with a man or a boys. And I saw that the community desired my working and started communicate with my husband about the assembly concept. So it was the community people, the elders, and the chiefs who called my husband, Mr. Stephen, and put before him, and he also accepted the offer, and I enter into a politics, become an assembly woman. You know, if you are an assembly woman, you have to go through some elections, and after that, I won by 83% voters cast, and I become and from there, I decided to see that the position that I have now, the cost and the challenges are many. So I decided to register my own company. That is why now I'm mentoring Sukai. I registered my own company at the Register General and do the works and housing too. I registered. And through that, I got some fund to help others. So those whom I pick from the roadside, some people I take them to school, some people we give them small money for them to start something small. And I mentor some people to So for the assembly concept, as an assemblywoman, your role is to think about the people's welfare, at the same time the development of the community, then how you can get sanitation, market and everything. And I decided to write letters through all around me. And because of chieftaincy disputes, my challenges became very tough, because you go to a certain office with a letter, no chief will embark you with a backup letter or something like that. So I just forced myself trying up and down every day, everywhere. And after that, by God's grace, I got some NGOs who were able to help me. And I can say the first NGO is Yale Alumni People. Through that, I got my Queen Mother, by then Deborah Rose, and today is Queen Mother Nana Yansma, the first of Yamransa. So I got some help from them, and many things that they did for me is marvelous. If I say my success through the NGOs, I got many achievements, something like market, ICT, community sanitation and water, electricity, power. Then my Queen Mother, Deborah Rose, also gave me ICT, home economics, and mega space. All is an achievement from me through my Queen Mother. So Helping Africa Foundation, that my Queen Mother is leading, helped me do a lot. From there, we come to a Queen Mother. Deborah was now a Queen Mother, and he has already playing the Queen Mother role. Because as a Queen Mother, you have to plan with your assemblyman or assemblywoman to take care of certain things, and that thing, Deborah is already doing it. You have to plan with your chiefs and elders, and Deborah is doing it. So as an assemblywoman, that is my lucky to get my Queen Mother, Nana Yansma, that is Deborah Rose. Yeah, and apart from that, all my achievements, there's one left. And I can say recently there's a problem, or there's an incident for a certain boy called Richard Kwenu. You know, they are from Juma to Nyamransa. It's almost 5 kilometers walk. And they do come every day and go back. And one fateful day, these school people are going home, and there's a snake bitten this Richard Kwenu. Before they get home, Richard passed away. All is lack of health center. We are working on it, although we are working on it still, but by the help of NGO, that is Douala Foundation through AWO, they are building a school building for Ejuma people. They have started giving us materials. We are in the 14 level, and I'm so glad for that. In fact, some NGOs that helped me is one, the Yale Alumni for the SIF who built the market for me, the Vision Fund who gives my people small loans to start something for themselves, and Prebi Foundation who also helped the school with some chairs. All these people do help me a lot. Vodafone gave me first laptop, that is the used one, and because it is the used one, we share it among the schools. And through that, Deborah gave me, try and bring in tech aid for us to now become #1 in lab, ICT lab. So I can say that I'm doing a great job through my NGOs as an assemblywoman. And in conclusion, I can say I will also like to thank my sister Sukai, my sisters with me. First one is Sukai, who has become my advisor in construction business. And Awo Oche through Dwala Foundation, helping me a lot for the school burden and school uniforms. And we are planning small to give some people small loans. That is the idea in a plate. In fact, for the health center, it's a plate too. One Elijah Painter in Yale tried for me some years ago, coming down to Ghana, coming more than 3-4 times. All is because of the health center. Now we have a land, a fast land, but ask at who to come and help. From Nyamransa, if in case any problem comes, from Nyamransa to Abrodunko, it's quite a long distance. But from Abrodunko, Fushu, if in case of anything to trauma, you pass through Nyamransa to Winneba, that is the trauma hospital. Sometimes they will send them to Cape Coast Hospital, that is in Tibetan. We normal call it in Tibetan, but now it's Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. We went there. When it doesn't, they can't do it, then they come and pass through Yamransa to Winneba. And before Winneba, there's a disaster. So I will thank God and still pleading that my sister, you all should help me to plead anywhere that we can get a hospital for Yamransa to save people's life. Like the boy I said, I will appreciate. So thank you, and especially my appreciation goes to my Nana Yansma the first. Deborah has helped me a lot. Nana, Ohima, thank you very much, and may God richly bless you. I will say, long live Nana Yansma the first, Ohima, long live my panelists, long live Ghana, especially Yamransa. Thank you, and God bless you all.
God bless you, and
Good
Dase.
job. Good job, Comfort. Love you. Good job.
Thank you, Comfort.
Thank you, my Deborah.
Thank
Comfort
you.
is always looking out for her people.
Yes.
And she's tried a lot of different businesses, and we've learned along with her. So this is a strong woman with a very supportive, very nice husband.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, Honorable Comfort. There's always so much to learn, and your story just really brings tears to my eyes, and I'm very happy that I've got to learn from you today, and I hope that everyone who's listening has learned something as well. Again, just a reminder to leave your questions in the Q&A section. So we're moving on to the next panelist for today. This is going to be interesting. Her name is Awo Otre, and yes, she has my last name, coincidentally. I'll tell you a little secret after I introduce her. So Awo Otre is a celebrated book author and poet with an MBA in project management. She has been a member of the AFS Intercultural Exchange community since her year as an exchange student in a public high school in Idaho in the 1980s. She inherited a small batik making business, Dwala Fabrics, from her late husband, Kwame Otre, but she now works with her children to design and print unique African textiles and to sew creative clothing from those fabrics. She also wishes to give back to the community of Yamransa, Ghana, where she spent over 10 years working with AFS Ghana and the Yale Alumni Service Corps. She recently founded the Dwala Foundation to support sustainable projects in education, vocational training, and women empowerment across Ghana. So, Awo Otre also happens to be my mother, and I am really delighted and honored to be introducing her to speak and share her story with us today. So, come.
Thank you, AC, and thank you to our panelists and to all who made this wonderful conference possible. I truly appreciate this opportunity to share my experiences as an African entrepreneur and leader. I was born in Africa. I live in Africa. I am madly in love with Africa, and I believe in Africa. There is hope for Africa, and I am now dedicating my life to serving Africa. I live by the words of my self-guiding motto: if it is for the good of Africa or of humanity, please count me in. My story is quite similar to that of Honorable Comfort, who shared with us. And I have realized that so many young people so many people now, my age and Comfort's age, started life just like she did. The Ghana Statistical Survey has released some information in 2019, which states that over 80% of businesses in the informal sector are owned by women. And if you look at the beginning of our lives, how we started, it tells you that this is not a surprise, because as a child growing up, the moment you are able to hold a broom, you are given household chores to start. You learn how to sweep. That teaches you responsibility right from the scratch. If you are able to cross the road and walk and not wobble on your feet, your mother or your grandmother will put a little load tray on your head with stuff to go out there and sell. So I think that the basics of entrepreneurship are ingrained in every Ghanaian girl. So right from home, I learned to work the chores. And many of these chores are exclusively reserved for girls. Most of the boys could get away without doing much, but we women, we young girls had no choice but to continue to do the chores. While we were doing them, we were not so excited, but we grew to love it. But that planted the seed that made it possible for the Statistics Survey to come up with those kind of accurate results and percentages. So for me, right through school, from basic school through to secondary, and even at the university, I started to trade. Selling bread for my mother, or pastries at the university's canteens, or on holidays. Even on holidays, we went to be with our grandmother. There were the chores constant, and there were the economic activities that we did at that micro level. So I think that there is what I call the SFB, small family business, in every Ghanaian home. So by the time you grow up, you already have those seeds planted within you. Throughout school, I loved literature. I loved English. I wanted to be an English professor. But somehow along the line, I deviated and followed friends and bad advice and ended up selecting a course in secretaryship. This deviation caused me much pain and regret for quite a while, because I found myself sitting behind the secretary's desk and not understanding how I got there. With time, my employers realized the hidden potentials and gave me a lot of promotions to higher levels. But all these could not appease me. So I continued during my spare time to write poems and books, and continued to do the things that I loved on the side. So after 17 years behind the limiting desk, doing the work that I didn't quite love, I gathered the courage and took the bold decision to resign. Resigning home and coming home to a husband and 7 direct dependents, 4 of whom were my biological children and 3 were adopted. So it was a huge decision to take, but it also gave me the opportunity to pursue some of those dreams that had been lying waiting. One of those happened to be community service. I found myself working with other NGOs. We started with AFS, that took me to the United States for 1 year in Idaho. And then we later worked with Yale Alumni Service Corps, which gave birth to the Friends of Yamaransa, and then Helping Africa Foundation. In the last few years, I joined Amazing Grace Children's Foundation that was also helping to build hospitals for children in deprived areas. So perhaps I have to talk with comfort and we connect Amazing Grace and so that they make their next hospital, found their next hospital at Yamaransa. That would be helpful. But my work with NGOs deepened my love for community, for the rural folk, and it helped me to understand their needs, and also to know that somehow, if we are able to focus our strengths, helping the communities and the rural areas especially, we will end up solving many of the problems that we have today. Just focus on those little communities, make them self-reliant, and help introduce sustainable ideas to them. And they should be running on their own and attracting people from the village, from the cities rather to the village than the other way around. So while I learned all these, it became, I saw the value in teaming up with others and founding the Douala Foundation when my husband passed away, because he was an avowed philanthropist, a humanitarian at the core, who did so much for so many with very little. And we decided not to allow all his works just to go to waste, but to continue. So I had a few of his friends who all came together, and we realized that, yes, this is the way we should go, because they all recognized the value of what he had left for us. And here again, our beloved friend, sister, Queen Mother, Dr. Deborah Rose of the Helping Africa Foundation was right there at the center of it, helping us to organize and do the launch. And she's actually a co-founder of the Douala Foundation. And no wonder we have, been infected by her positive vibes and bugs, and are lending out a hand to help with the school projects and other projects to help women fund their businesses. The next project that I was into was managing and growing Douala Fabrics, which I inherited from my husband when he passed away last year. This is a business that seeks to fill the gap in the handcrafted fabrics industry, which is mostly owned by women. And what we wanted to focus on was to design fabrics that stand out, that are different from the whole bunch on the market. So we went into creativity, and then by doing a lot of innovations and experimentation through deliberate modification of existing procedures. So we've designed our own methods of doing things, of dyeing, of printing, and just of creating a fabric that would stand out of the lot. We also set up a culture and tourism business called Interactive Cultural Encounters. And the purpose was to divert a bit from the usual monumental tours that people take. But we found a way of packaging rich Ghanaian culture and presenting it in such a way that people can actually see, taste, smell, and experience life as a Ghanaian, so that tourists coming in would actually have the opportunity to live for a day or half a day as a Ghanaian. These have brought a lot of successes our way, as the creativity and innovation that we have displayed made customers passing by our shops and our stands, heave a sigh of relief and say, something different at last. This was on the lips of almost every other customer who passed our way. And this has been adopted as our slogan in Douala Fabrics, something different at last. Our products are sold in many African countries as retailers come and take our stuff there. We are able also to support the Douala Foundation to contribute to community projects that benefit many people. Our style of managing and working with others makes it easy for us to train, mentor, grow people who work with us, those who may be interested in staying long or those who come just for short term. We have sponsored many to finish school, to set up their own businesses, to improve their living conditions and become better citizens of Ghana. Our challenges are, well, everyone has challenges, every institution, has challenges. But for us, I think we'll see it more as being an African woman and the challenges we have, I would say, possibly it could be seen as it could be seen as something that may be discouraging, but I have learned that these are opportunities that help us to grow and to be there for our people. The sheer numbers of people who depend on us, not just our nuclear family and extended family, but members of the community depend on the successful African leader. And especially as women, they draw near to us, they come to us. As Comfort said, she did not go to seek the position of an assemblywoman. Her people came to her because they saw the contribution that she had made to people all around her. And so they came to her and pleaded with her to lead to lead them. So these are the kind of situations that we find ourselves in as African leaders and entrepreneurs. This could be daunting, but it also can be seen as an opportunity for us not to fail, to do our best to keep on and to succeed, not just for our sakes and our family's sakes, but also for the community, for the many people who depend on us, not just for a living, but even for mentorship, for guidance, for grooming, for advice, to overcome life's many challenges. The way forward for me, I think, and I see, is a continuation of the sisterhood, sisters stretching out to help other sisters, strong women who stand not just for themselves, but for their people as well. We need now to train and groom and hand over to the coming generation, so that they will continue and understand the need to invest in community. The world has been filled with too much focus on self. We need to break those barriers if we are to reduce the huge challenges that the world is facing today. Perhaps the solutions lie in our hands and are quite simple. Help a sister, lift up a sister, and move together. Stand up, be strong, and continue. For those who may be weak, we lift each other up and we support each other. I think this is the way to go. And so I will like to also thank my sisters here, and to urge us and treat us to continue. Spread the word about each other, spread the word about what we're doing and what we can do to help. Major problems may have simple solutions and may lie with simple people like you and I. Let's not give up. Let's continue to have hope and believe in Africa and in humanity and move forward to solve the world's problems. Thank you so much. And I will also ask you to leave your questions at the Q&A section.
Ayaku, Alu, I have never heard you speak so strongly. This is so empowering. I can't help it, sorry. I'm allowed to comment at the end.
Yes,
Okay,
you are.
thank you so much. But it is my honor at this stage to introduce a fine young lady, a millennial, ready to take up the mantle, to move forward and not to look back, to build on what we are building on and to become, for the world to become even better. AC Autry graduated from the African Leadership University in Mauritius, far away from her home in Ghana, with a BA in Social Sciences. Since then, she has been in various roles in technology and education industries, working with organizations such as the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology and the African Leadership Group to provide high-quality leadership and entrepreneurial development for African youth. She's working with TechAid, a company devoted to improving education, youth development, and health delivery by building state-of-the-art custom-designed ICT centers across Africa. ACE's project has been to translate scientific concepts into arts terms that teachers of the liberal arts can readily understand and use when they teach. As the daughter of two entrepreneurs, AC also manages operations in her family business, Douala Fabrics, and interactive cultural encounters, working to digitize marketing and payment processes to improve its online presence. She also serves on the board of the Douala Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, AC Autry.
Okay. This is interesting. I wish I could hear what other people are thinking in the audience. Like, what's going on? Why does everybody know each other?
Good comment,
Actually,
actually.
the pieces of the puzzle will come together soon. So thank you, Mom, for that introduction. And thank you all for listening. I am truly inspired by all the stories of my mothers who have spoken earlier today. I really want to be like each of you when I grow up.
Oh.
I realized that I spent so much time hanging out with my mom and her age mates and my friends. You know, my age mates are getting worried that I'm becoming one of them. But that there's a lot of wisdom that I absorb from them. There's so much to learn, so many perspectives, and I highly recommend. So I encourage any 20-something-year-old listening, make friends with a 40+. There's a lot of good in there. Again, I am truly honored to be here on this panel today, and thank you for believing in me enough to invite me here. Thank you for the opportunity to hold the baton, and hopefully I will be even greater than we imagine. So today I would like to share my relatively short story. I represent the newer generation of African women. So we have a better relationship with our parents, and so we have access to their stories, their advice, and their wisdom. We have better education and exposure. We have seen more of the world, and we have technology. And we also have a stronger sense of self and the ability to stand for what we believe in. So my story, well, my mother's here, so she can confirm most of it. I had a great childhood, very few hardships, nothing much to complain about. Thank you, Mom. I had everything that I needed. I had a very loving family, my parents and brothers and sisters. We got everything that we needed, and not everything we wanted, but for good reasons. I descend from a long line of entrepreneurs. My parents ran a fabric business at home, like my mom just mentioned. So for me, it was very normal to see so much activity in the house. I witnessed firsthand the challenges and joys of operating a project that they cared about so much. And I watched them make mistakes, learn from them, grow, be creative, come up with new ideas, and watch them make money to sustain our lives as a family. And so, you know, growing up, I always knew that no matter what my day job is, I would always have some side business going on. I would always have the Dwala factory to run. So if anyone asks what I would want to be in future, right from the second grade, I would say I want to be a teacher. And I think it has evolved now, but at the very core, I still really want to be a teacher. I had a great education. Thanks again, Mom. And it was, as much as possible, a very holistic education. A major highlight early on in my high school years was an exchange program to France. So I lived with a host family. I went to school, and after the 10 months that I spent there, my entire world opened up, and I had a burning desire to always reach for more and tap into all the endless possibilities that there are in the world. However, the more that I learned about how the world works, how school systems operated, the angrier I became at how broken the system was. Many times I threatened to drop out of school. And sometimes my mom would support me because she understood what the struggle was. But thank goodness I actually finished. But, you know, at the time that I was so close, something magical would happen, or I would find some inspiration so conveniently so that I stay and continue. So years passed after my high school, and I found myself in Mauritius in 2016. I got a phone call from my father that I had won a British Council Award for the best A-level student in the whole Ghana for sociology and French. And my jaw dropped. I was, it felt like it was someone else that received the call. I was so excited, but above all, I realized that I was able to successfully channel the anger and rage into excelling beyond my own expectations. And so that award that I received propelled me into the next stage of my life and encouraged me to open even more doors for myself. So I'm at the African Leadership University in Mauritius now. I did my BA in social sciences, and a lot of people look at me sideways when I say that I went all the way to Mauritius for a social sciences degree. I can explain. Firstly, I mean, if it's not obvious enough, I was really trying to run away from home. I wanted to be as far away from home as possible so that I could spread my wings, but also as close as possible to the continent so that I do not forget who I am and where I'm from. So I chose African Leadership University in Mauritius. Aside the destination location, the African Leadership University was an amazing all-around experience for me. My colleagues, teachers, and especially the founder, Fred Swanica, lit a fire in me to develop Africa through entrepreneurship. So there were about 400 of us from 30 different African countries. We lived and learned together. Entrepreneurship was also not just preached, but practiced and supported. ALU created the ideal ecosystem for us to set up businesses. And so there were about 50 student ventures at a time ranging from transportation, food, obviously, financial services, tourism, interior decor, parties. And what I decided to do was to set up a spa on campus. And it was the hottest thing everybody was talking about. I had a lot of clients, coming back, and truly, I had so much fun. I had a lot of fun owning this spa and running it, but I also really needed the money, so it was, it was convenient as well. After my time at ALU, I won 3 awards for the spa. So another moment where awards propelled me into the next stage of my life. I really got the validation and extra confidence that I needed, that I could do this. If I wanted to start something and own it and see it through to the end, I really could. Another thing about ALU that made me want it and stay there is that it mandated internships. So we had to do an internship after every academic year. And I love that idea because I was in a hurry to end this whole school thing and start working. I couldn't wait. And so I took advantage of it. And so my combined experiences, zeal and passion made it very easy for people to want to employ me. So I'm very thankful for that. So because I wanted to be a teacher, always have and always will, it was easy for me to choose what companies to work with. And so I worked at ALU itself, which was a disruptive educational institution, the Meltwater Entrepreneurial School of Technology, which focuses on using technology, so software engineering, programming, to solve problems on the continent and also encourage women to do the same. ALX, which was an organization that prepared thousands of young Africans to be work ready. I had a lot of fun, particularly making TikTok videos that taught young people how to write resumes, cover letters, prepare for interviews. It was a fun time of my life. And then also more recently at TechAid, where I'm working on the Makerspace curriculum content so that it enhances learning for young Ghanaians and Gambians.
And Gambians.
Exactly, yeah. And soon all Africans to have a experience through technology. So after all these educational institutions that I've had the privilege of working at the core, I always come back to entrepreneurship, where it started at home. So I'm currently working in Douala Fabrics and the interactive cultural encounters that my mom just described. And my role in these SFBs, as she called it, small family businesses, is to learn from the mistakes that my parents have made, to take what I've learned from all these other institutions that I've worked in, and add my personality to bring these businesses into the digital world and take them to the next level. I'm grateful for every step that I've taken that has brought me this far. I'm grateful that I can call myself an African woman, entrepreneur, and leader, and sit among you, my mothers, today on this panel. I would like to encourage all the young people listening, younger people listening. We are in the why not generation, because those before us have paved the way for us, and we have the blessing of technology to reach far beyond our own imaginations, which gives us very few excuses. For example, I don't need to spend 17 years behind a desk that is not right for me, like my mother did. And I will always have a business to run because my parents did all the hard work in setting it up. All I need to do is to channel all my previous experience and take both businesses and the foundation to the next level. I am the next generation of the African woman as entrepreneur and leader. I stand tall because I stand on the shoulders of giants, these amazing, strong women whom I love so deeply and admire so much. I am truly proud to be here, and I'm thankful for this opportunity. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I would like to encourage everyone who has questions to leave them in the Q&A section. If any of the panelists want to comment quickly before we proceed to the next panelist. Okay, thank you so much. This is truly exciting for me, if it's not obvious enough. So I am honored to introduce our final panelists for today. Deborah's first experience with a strong woman in a low-resource environment was during a summer homestay program in Constitucion, Chile, a small fishing village and resort known for its looming rocks and black basalt sand beaches. She lived with a family for a month where the mother wore pantsuits, looked to Paris, not New York, for fashion, homeschooled her children in English, and was studying for her master's degree in English linguistics. That is, in a Hispanic country considered patriarchal, she watched a sophisticated woman create a future for herself and her children just before the women's liberation movement came ashore in the United States. Today, Deborah considers herself to be a population biologist who specializes in the human species. She focuses on epidemiology and public health issues, and with her African brothers and sisters, is working to deploy at least one ICT center or computer learning lab in each of the 16 regions of Ghana. A blend of the theoretical and practical, she has done well in technical fields where there are few other women. She's often found in Ghana as part of a three-legged stool with two supportive male partners, with the goal of promoting the Yamransa model of sustainable development. Dr. Rose has a BA, MPH, and PhD from Yale, and SM from Harvard, and is the Queen Mother of Yamransa, Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Nana Abena Nyansma the first.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It has been inspiring to hear all of my sisters talk. Whatever my prepared remarks are, doesn't matter. We've each mentioned family, and I think the current trendy term is family of choice. But in so many ways that we've discussed, or Essie, you've been very cute about it, or not discussed, this group of women really is a family of choice. And when you were saying what you were saying about working with the elders, there is a certain millennial known as the princess for several etymological reasons. And there is another woman probably listening in on this call, Lauren with an I. And I would love to have Essie, Lauren, and Sarah all together in the same room, be a fly on the wall, and hear what you all decide to talk about. I think that would be totally awesome. As a health person, I also can't help point out, 1 year we did, or 1 or more years, we had a Yale graduate whose field was exercise therapy. And when she was here to help women with their posture and some aches and pains from carrying loads that might have been too heavy, what she taught me was that the women had excellent posture. If you can balance a heavy tray on your head, your spine is straight and there's certain problems you're not going to have. Now, I wouldn't suggest too much of it, but all things in moderation. Let me just see if there was, each thing each of you has said has given each of us, I'm sure, ideas about what else we can do. So what I did put on my cards was the word synergist, where I like assessing a situation. I can often see the gaps or see a problem and solve it before most people, including many men, have even realized there was a problem. And this has happened several times in my agency with a data issue. And I would say with the ICT Center. You know, I don't think one has to be a rocket scientist to know that we spent, what, 5 years building a building and no one thought about putting the computers in it. But I had done that in this country, just not in Ghana. So I went out and found the best person in Ghana to help us bring computers to the computer center. You know, it seemed to work. Anyway, I'm eager to do that in whatever other fields presents itself. But in the meantime, with these strong women of several generations, send us the problems and we'll solve them. We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. Thank you, my sisters.
Thank you, our sister.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all. And our Archer and Comfort are also here saying thank you so much. I'm saying thank you to all of you, my mothers. And before we go into the Q&A section, if you'd like to make any comments, please do so now. Otherwise, we will answer some questions from the attendees. Okay. Well, thank you again, finally. So we have a question for Honorable Comfort. Can you talk about how supportive your community or constituency has been in creating value for its inhabitants? What role has the government played, if any at all, in supporting your community?
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just move here.
Thank you. In fact, my community and the government, there is a distance. You know, we have decentralization that government will share to the communities, but it won't come to the community streets. It will go to the metropolitan, then municipal, to the district assemblies. And for my municipality, what we have from the government is water, electricity, but because decentralization is not working, so if you are an assemblywoman, you have to set through that thing for yourself. So you can go to firm, company to company, but first you are an assemblywoman. If there is some, they offer you. So through that, electricity company offered me 400 poles, 3 transformers, then meters for the electricity. And at the same time, I approached Ghana Water Company. They also offer me water extension. So apart from this way, you can't get from government direct unless you go from firm to firm. That is how government started helping my community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I think the summary is that it's very hard to get any real help from the government. And so people move around from firm to firm, lobby to get support for projects happening in the community. We have a comment here from Georgia. It strikes me this discussion is very much a positive testimony of the power of individual women. What are key 3 recommendations each panelist would suggest for individuals to make positive contributions to their society? Okay, that's a big one. So to the panelists, what are 3 key recommendations you would suggest for individuals to make positive contributions to their society? I'll give you some time to think about that. The next question. What can you advise What advice can you give to women who are starting their journey of entrepreneurship without the support of family or community, as in financial or emotional support? What advice can we give to women who are starting their journey of entrepreneurship without support, both financial or emotional, from family and community? Who would like to take that?
I'd like to see someone explain that aspect of the susu. That's why we started with it.
Yes. I will take it on because I would just tell that woman not to give up. Because like I said, 50, 60 years ago, when my mom started, it was really doomed. It was very dark. We thought that people around her thought that it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to happen. And she believed in herself. She knew that she could do it, one susu at a time. And to be honest with you, susu is still going strong all over the world. It started in Africa, as far as I know, but people from Asia, from the Middle East, from Europe, are all doing it in their neighborhoods. I believe that's a very easy way to start a business. And if I were a woman that has no financial support or no support from family or community, no support from family, I would gather up the community and start a susu-based business. That's the fastest way to get yourself up and going and running. It's based on trust, and there's no taxes involved. There's no interest involved. And you can run it and have the money to start. Like I gave my example of my mom. She started selling empanadas, like meat pies, drinks, and that led her from that money. She started the susu, and from there, everybody in that susu group became financially independent for the rest of their lives. In my case, if there was not susu involved, I don't know where I would be. She raised 12 of us, like I said. 11 of us has college graduates. Some 3 or 4 or 5 of us has have higher education, like master's degrees, three diplomats in the family, and 2 scientists. So susu is definitely the way to go, I believe, especially in the African setting. I believe is totally the way to go to help uplift women, and believe in yourself and stay strong and know that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to just add and say, maybe have a chosen family. So look around you, friends, and anyone that you know who feels like family to you, your support system, and make them family. And they will be the ones to actually give you that emotional and financial support that you need. So that's it from me. Any further comments from the panelists?
Yes.
Okay, let me move this way.
Yes, thank you, Georgia, for your question. And I would also just add that start where you are with what you have. Don't wait for government or anyone. Just start something. But too often we're just stuck onto the apron strings of governments and others. But we need to understand that we are capable and able to do things and to start something. So don't wait for government, just start. Stop complaining, move in a certain direction, which is positive, that will help your people. Join neighborhood groups. A women's group, for example, is just a random group of women who came together to help themselves and so on. As you join the groups, you learn to teach each other. If you have any good information that you want to share or some positive things that you want people to know, there is a forum to talk about it and encourage people to also do good things in their area. Volunteer for an NGO. I started just by volunteering for so many NGOs that I listed already. And at first it was like, maybe I'm wasting my time, maybe I'm even wasting my money buying fuel to go up and down meetings, traveling from town to town. But then that was where I realized that there are so many of us living in the cities who are so privileged, and we are not even aware that there is people, that do not have what we have. The little we have that we don't even appreciate. There are people who don't even have that. But when we go out there and we meet with them, we talk with them, we see that we are in a positions to be able to extend a helping hand to someone. Nobody is too low, too little, too deprived to help somebody. Everybody can extend a helping hand to another person. So if we all, let's go back to our villages. Everybody in Ghana, like they say, everybody comes from a village. Everybody comes from a place that may not have many resources that they should have. If we sit back here and just complain about, oh, this or complain about that, we don't achieve much. But we take steps to go there, live with our people, learn, respect them, and try to have discussions with them. Soon you will see that you are able to organize and start something that will help. That will help. So these are a few of the ideas I want to share as 3 things that you can do and you can start today.
Wow, I'm taking notes. I hope you all are too. And thank you very much, Sukai. Thank you also, Awo, for sharing those. I think there's a question about that. Okay, Dr. Deborah is going to take that, and then.
No, why don't you answer it? Because I can tell you what I'm writing, but I'd really like to hear from someone who was born an Akan woman. The question was, can you clarify what Queen Mother means in Ghana and what they are responsible for? Is that a title to show respect? Yes, it is, but it's also real. We are not to eat or speak in public, but we are quietly consulted in private when everyone else has had his or her say. And we have a big say, or the final say, in succession planning. When a chief or nana or elder dies, there are many political, I'll say, struggles to choose the successor. And that can take years. And ultimately, the Queen Mother is consulted. Now, I was not born in Yamaransa. I was not born in Ghana. I thought I would eventually work with the L in my service corps in a Spanish-speaking country, such as Chile. But the Lord sent me to Ghana. And with Comfort's help, I have been told I am on the committees that have an influence. And rather than really tell my story, maybe what I've been doing is acting as a Queen Mother here in setting up this panel and getting all my friends and sisters together. I will say that sometimes there has been a discussion of terminology and whether it's appropriate to say mother or daughter if you have a biological one and some social ones. And there are different views on that. But as I am the girl and the eldest with 3 brothers, I don't have any biological sisters. So I can use that term gleefully with any other woman I wish to. Thank you. But Comfort, do you want to say more? Oh, and I do try to read, I've been pretty good about not talking too much here. And I try to see the protocols for the Queen of England, because she's a kind of Queen Mother in the British tradition. Comfort, is there more you would like to, Comfort and Essie and Owl, that you'd like to explain about what it is to be a Queen Mother in the Akan tradition?
Thank you. Then, my Queen Mother, to call Queen Mother in Akan, we call you Ohima. That Ohima means you are the head of all the women or the ladies in the town. some community don't have queen mothers because they are under a certain community. They are under. You see, for the kinship, we have one after the other. So when we call you Ohima or a queen mother, that means you are the head of all the women on that land. And at the same time, like how a chief is ahead of all the community, you are also ahead of all the women. And by that time, you and the king normally plan together. For the kinship, your role, some of your role, specifically, you are a kingmaker. In case any stool become vacant, you take over, take care, you help the community to appoint a king for that stool. And for the royal family, if you are a queen mother, the royal family, that stool is in there, takes you as their family member in all. So both you and the chiefs and elders, the queen mothers have veto power over them, because somebody said, you educate a man, you educate one person, but you educate a woman, you educate a family. So queen mother overpower all the kingship, and a queen mother can elect a king. You can also elect your ministers, those whom you can plan with. And at the same time, if there is a vacant of any stool, you is the one who help the community or appoint someone by vetting that person, asking about the person's life, seeing the history over that person before you appoint that person. So either you see that person's character not be misbehaving, not the one who is a drunkard or a thief. You set through the character of that person and you appoint that person on that stool. Yeah.
I do want to comment that it really is amazing having Zoom, but Comfort has very high character herself and is a very good judge of character. And that's not necessarily something one can see from a Zoom call, but that's why we rely on her. So what we do is a blend of in-person, in-country technology, phone calls, and we really have, I believe there are some unmeasured bands of the spectrum that haven't been characterized yet. And we just think about each other and then our cell phones ring. I can't explain that one, but we're all in communication all the time. But I still have to remember who can drive to my house. That would be Sukai.
I can.
But Alo, since you lived in the United States, in Idaho, which you characterized as boring, I keep thinking you could drive here too, because Beltsville Center of the Universe is a very nice place.
Sure.
That's possible. Yeah.
Okay, this is awesome. We have 4 minutes to wrap up this session. And let's take one more question. And the question is, how do you measure the impact of the various programs discussed today? How do you measure the impact of the various programs discussed today? So who would like to go first?
I would just like to say, for the one with the schooling, where we have a whole system and we work with the ministers and we work with the Ghana Education Service in Ghana and the equivalent in Gambia. I'm a data person, among other things, and I would like to get the test results and do all kinds of studies forward, backward, and sideways to do comparison groups, comparisons within the school. Unfortunately, the government has, even though the students get their individual grades the way you got yours, the government has not yet seen fit to figure out how to give even the heads of school the data so that we could have the data, so that we could analyze it, so that we could write a paper about it. So if anyone listening can help out with that one, please help.
Fantastic, thank you. We are actually working to gather information so that we can track the impact that has happened over the years. But aside that, the stories that we hear from the people, the women and families that we work with every day, we hear the stories, we know them, and they tell us how their lives are improving because of all the things that have been done. So that's the start. But then now we have to do the quantitative part and get the numbers. So yeah. Great, we have 2 minutes to wrap up. Any concluding remarks? Okay, Honorable Comfort would like to say something.
Yeah, thank you, AC. I want to suggest that with this program, something is ringing in my mind that for those who are lucky to get a parent who are concerned, same way some people don't have a parent who are concerned, irresponsible parents are there, and there's girls in them. So we can educate the communities, make the girls as an association. Probably if government will help us, we can put petition through education. Then we go school by school, make small group of ladies, educate them, and engage PPAG to teach them reproductive health, how they can comport themselves, because to get married as an virgin is also a great achievement that brings more blessings through your life. But you see our girls, today they are raping, today they themselves even go. They don't know that there's something within them that they can bring about to get themselves prepared, like mine. My parents said they don't have money to, so I should go in straight to marry. But I decided myself that I will use my hand to do something. When I got married, I don't want my children to go wayward. I started to sacrifice everything, making construction, labor, carrying mortar, concrete, whatever, selling, doing farming, making cassava, sweet potatoes. I struggle for the children not to. So there are some people who like this. If we can make some association or groups in the small, especially villages, we can start from there by making them small groups and educate them, engaging people so that they will be trained and take care of themselves. Thank you.
Essie, I have a quick comment. So I would like to say that we have to take matters into our own hands. I am very passionate about girls' education. We have to be able to mentor our girls to figure out a way to just help them live their lives at their best. We also need to make sure that we don't forget the girls, especially in Africa, where we all come from, especially in Gambia. Like my mom was not educated and she's the smartest woman I ever know. You educate, like we have the saying in Gambia, you educate a girl, you educate a village. We need to be more passionate about girls' education and help them in every way we can in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of well-being, and in terms of mentorship. We have to, in Gambia, we have this mentoring program where we mentor, like I said, all these powerful women that are in ministers, vice presidents of our country, and the Minister of Gender, and a whole lot of people that graduated from the best girls' high school in the Gambia are very, very passionate about girls' education. So I believe that each and every one of us has a personal responsibility to ourselves and also to them to be able to help them lift them up, no matter how we can. Even if you mentor one person at a time, eventually you'll be able to at least get through to what you need to do. But we need to be working together. We need to organize ourselves, and we need to be very, very passionate today as ever. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always so difficult to bring such discussions to a close, but we have run out of time. I think we can continue discussion later on another Zoom call for 5 hours.
Yeah, if I make the plane.
Thank you so much. All the sisters, mothers, panelists, thank you to the organizers. Thank you to the attendees for staying with us all the way to the very end. We appreciate you so much. Just a note that next Friday on October 29th, there will be another workshop conference happening at the exact same time. So make sure to tune in and come learn and hear more experiences and stories from African women as well. My name is Issy Ochre, and I have been the moderator for today. Thank you once again, and see you later, some other time. Who knows?
Good job, Essie. Thank you so much.